Hello, welcome to Sundays with a Librarian. My name is Megan Mahoney, and today's topic is developing a literature review. What is a literature review? A literature review is an overview of research that has been done on a given topic. The purpose of a literature review is twofold. First, before doing research ourselves, we must know what the existing research is. Writing a literature review helps us to organize and evaluate existing research findings so that we can identify patterns, trends, and gaps in the research. Doing this helps us decide what questions still need to be asked and answered. Then, when we present our own research, we write up the synthesis of others' findings to help our readers know what informed our research and to position our findings within a larger research context. A literature review can be part of a larger work, such as a journal article or dissertation, or it can stand by itself as a review article or a white paper. It is when a literature review is part of a larger work that it helps us contextualize our research findings for others. When the literature review stands alone, we are typically trying to identify and interpret patterns in research literature so as to recommend directions for future research. That research might be done by us or by others. Literature reviews are helpful to researchers, cutting down on the amount of time they have to spend doing background research before choosing and designing a study or experiment. Literature reviews typically contain these 8 elements. Of particular importance to new researchers is identifying major formative works in a field and key researchers working on a topic. So these two blocks in the upper right-hand corner. You will know which publications and researchers are formative because they will be cited a lot by other researchers. Determining the primary methodologies and research techniques used in a particular field is also critical so that you make well-informed decisions when designing your own research. Depending on the field, you might be expected to stick to specific established methodologies, or you might see a reason to use something different. Use of a new or different methodology will need to be well justified so that it is accepted by others. I recommend following these 7 steps when working on a literature review. First, you will need a question. This question may not be the one that you eventually research, but you have to start somewhere. Second, review discipline styles. What kind of research do you expect that you will find, and what disciplines will cover your topic? Then, search the literature. Next, manage your references well. People do this in different ways. I like to track mine in an Excel or Google Sheet, where I have separate columns for the citation, methodology, research population, findings, and limitations. This helps me with step 5, critically analyze and evaluate the research that you have found. Other people like to manage their references using citation software such as Zotero, EndNote, RefWorks, or APA's Academic Writer. There will be separate Sundays with the Librarian workshops on using Zotero and Academic Writer if you are interested in learning this software. The final steps in the literature review are to synthesize the findings in your sources and actually write the literature review. Writing a literature review is not always easy or fun, nor is reading one, if I'm going to be honest. However, conducting the literature review is a vital step in research, and a well-written literature review is truly a thing of beauty, of exceeding value to the field. After you work on yours, you'll understand what I mean. Here are some tips for producing a good literature review. First, conduct solid research through focused searching of databases for sources. You might also want to include Google Scholar for very recent material, but please don't rely on Google Scholar alone. Second, find recent and reputable references. Recent can be a lot of things depending on your topic and how comprehensive your literature review is. Third, make sure you have time to read and understand your sources. Your synthesis will not be solid if you don't really understand what you are writing about, and your readers will be able to tell. Verify and evaluate your sources, take notes, and be organized. When you write, make sure to analyze instead of report. If you have trouble doing this, you are not alone. However, reporting does not make for a useful literature review. Focus instead on identifying trends and gaps in what you have read. Finally, write drafts with enough time to proofread and make edits. The following questions can help you when analyzing your sources and even when proofreading your own literature review to make sure that it is not merely a report. 1. Does the researcher begin by identifying a specific problem area? Does the researcher establish the importance of the problem area? Are any underlying theories adequately described or defined? Does the introduction move from topic to topic instead of from citation to citation? Are very long introductions broken into subsections with subheadings? Has the researcher provided adequate conceptual definitions of key terms? Has the researcher cited sources for factual statements? Do the specific research purposes, questions, or hypotheses logically flow from the introductory material? Overall, is the introduction effective and appropriate? Has the researcher avoided citing a large number of sources for a single point? Is the literature review critical? Is the current research cited? Has the researcher distinguished between opinions and research findings? Has the researcher noted any gaps in the literature? Has the researcher interpreted research literature in light of the inherent limits of empirical research? Has the researcher avoided overuse of direct quotations from the literature? Overall, is the literature review of the introduction appropriate? Now let's look at searching. On the library homepage, you will see the icon labeled Databases. Click on that. Then on the A to Z list, you can choose your subject or discipline from this drop-down box on the top left. A lot of students will make the mistake of searching for their topic in this search box over here on the right, but this doesn't actually search within the databases. It only searches for databases by title. So if you know you're looking for one like SocIndex, you can put it here and that'll bring it right up for you, and you don't have to drill down through the subject drop-down box or the alphabet. But if you don't know what you're looking for, choose your subject from this drop-down box. So if you're chemistry, you're going to want to start with SciFinder. If biology, biological abstracts, and Bio1. They are two separate databases with separate search interfaces, so you will need to check them independently. For business, you might choose Business Source Complete or Mergent Online. For nursing, you'll want to choose the subject Medicine and Health, and then look in Sinhall, which is a nursing database, or Medline, which is more of a general medical database, but with particular slant towards physicians. ProQuest Nursing and Allied Health Resources is also a good place to look. For psychology, you'll want to look in Psych Articles or Psych Info. And for social science, you'll want to choose Sociology and Anthropology from the drop-down menu and look in SocIndex with full text or Academic Search Complete. Let's pretend we are doing research in a social sciences field. So I'm going to click into SocIndex. Your task when using any database is to figure out how the database talks about your topic. If your initial searches don't yield anything useful, you can look for subject terms or an index thesaurus to help you. These are usually in the top left. So for example, if I'm interested in poverty, I can look at the different ways that this database talks about poverty. So you see we have poverty statistics, poverty rate, culture of poverty, cycle of poverty, poverty psychological aspects. And when you find one that's useful, you can click into it and it will show you broader terms like poverty or related terms, or narrower terms. So if we're in poverty generally, cycle of poverty, homelessness, poverty rate, impoverishment, as well as related terms like basic needs, begging, income distribution. So you can choose terms and add them with an or, and, or not to your search, and then do the search over. So if I look at cycle of poverty or basic needs, I get 958 results, which is many fewer results than if I just search for poverty alone. That gets me 42,000. Many of our databases are accessed through this blue interface called EBSCO, and it is possible to search multiple databases at once from within this interface. So if you click here on Choose Databases, I might want to click to search SocIndex as well as Academic Search Complete, and maybe even Psych articles for my topic on poverty. So you can see here, I'll say show all databases, and you can see that I'm now searching 3 databases at the same time. So remember in SocIndex, we got 42,000 results for just poverty. Let's look at this. Now I have 128, almost 129,000 results. Now over here, it'll show you multiple indexes. So each database will have its own. It's not going to be as easy to select 1 or 2 subject terms to help you narrow down your results, because there will be different subject descriptors for each database you're searching. You're going to want to stick with probably keyword searching when searching multiple databases at the same time. So if you click into a result, it'll tell you where it comes from. So this first one is from SocIndex, and it gives me the subject terms and author supplied keyword terms. Those are different than, let's see here, it's PLOS One, regional studies, human geography. If we click into this one from American Psychologist, so you'll see here the subjects are American Psychological Association, poverty, psychologists, socioeconomic status, and economic inequality. So just be aware of that. Searching multiple databases at once can be useful, but it might also make your work, your search less efficient. It really just depends on what you're finding and the specific search terms that you're using. So let's go back to our presentation. It will help you immensely if you decide on a way to organize your sources before you start researching. Some people like to use citation managers, and I've mentioned Zotero and Academic Writer before. Citation managers archive your citations and sometimes the accompanying PDFs for later and allow you to make notes or tag your resources with specific descriptor terms. Zotero is free, and the library offers a workshop on how to use it. The good thing about Zotero being free is that it is not tied to your ESU student, staff, or faculty account. So if you were to leave ESU and still need access to your citations, you would still have them. Academic Writer is different, however. This is by the American Psychological Association, and the library pays a subscription for this software. So once you leave ESU, you will no longer have access to this. However, you can search APA databases from within Academic Writer, and that is kind of a useful element of this particular software. Academic Writer also contains document and bibliographic templates, which other citation softwares typically do not. So if you're in the psychology field, using Academic Writer could be very helpful. Mendeley is used by a lot of people in the physical and biological sciences. It's also free. It does require a download and lives on your desktop. A lot of these other ones are browser based, and so they don't actually take up any room on your computer. There are also low-tech ways for managing your citations. As I mentioned, I like to use spreadsheets, Google Sheets, or Excel sheets. You can create and maintain annotated bibliographies as you research. Regardless of what method you use for organizing your sources or your references and citations, I highly recommend managing your digital files well. Use consistent file naming conventions, such as the first author's last name and the year of publication, and keep all of your files in the same place, preferably on the cloud. Keeping them only on your computer's hard drive is a recipe for disaster should your hard drive fail or your computer sustain some type of damage, like from a spilled drink. To conclude, a literature review is crucial to research for 5 reasons. It demonstrates that you understand your subject matter, justifies your research, helps you identify and select a theoretical framework and methodology for your own research, and provides you with support for your own findings. It is well worth putting in the time and effort to do the literature review well. If you'd like something physical to use as a guide when working on your literature review, here is one library book that I would recommend. It's short and simply laid out, but we have other resources as well. If you have questions, feel free to contact me or your department's subject liaison at any time. We are always happy to help you. Now I'm going to be available for Q&A. During this time, I am going to turn off the camera so you won't be able to see me. If you have time and feel so inclined, we would really like your feedback on this workshop. You can get to the feedback form using this link or by scanning the QR code below it. Thank you. I look forward to hearing from you.